Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to your pick a card reading at Transform with Rian. And we are doing part two of your future spouse's beauty today, and we will be examining your future spouse's inner beauty. So you can check my channel to see part one if you missed it on your future spouse's outer beauty. We did that reading about a week ago now. And today we are doing, once again, your future spouse's inner beauty. So let's look at your options. The first option here is transformation. And the second option here is healing. And the third option for today's pick a card reading is destruction. So if you need to, go ahead and pause this video and take a moment to meditate, ground yourself, take a few breaths in and out to tune into your energy and your future spouse's energy and see which one of these three cards has the messages for you to find out more about your future spouse's inner beauty. And let's get started with the very first reading. So welcome, group number one, to your pick a card reading to find out more about your future spouse's inner beauty. This is part two of your future spouse beauty series. The first video was on your future spouse's outer beauty, and you can check that video out on my channel if you haven't already. So you were drawn to the transformation card. So what I'm seeing about your future spouse with this is, for sure, your future spouse has gone through many experiences in life that have shaped them into who they are today. And what I'm seeing here that's so beautiful about them is that they don't stay stagnant. They're this type of person that as life changes and their circumstances change, they change and transform with it. So that person that they were a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, it's not the same. And that can be said for everybody, but with your future spouse, this is definitely like a bit more profound of a transformation and change, to the point where it's almost like people who knew them maybe 2, 3, 5 years ago wouldn't hardly even recognize them now. It's almost like, again, they're a completely different person. It's kind of like what I'm hearing is maybe your future spouse was a big partier in college. Do you know what I'm saying? And they were known to be like the life of the party, maybe constantly getting like trashed on the weekends or whatever, having a good time, almost super carefree. And now they are a little bit more toned down. They're more responsible. Maybe they don't even like drink at all at this point, you know? So I feel like they've gone through phases in their life where it's almost like they're unrecognizable to the people who might have known them previously. And what I'm seeing here is, perhaps a little bit more so than what I'm sensing from the other piles, is your future spouse is on this journey of soul evolution in this lifetime. The soul's mission, the soul's primary purpose is to grow and evolve. And I'm hearing now from Spirit that your future spouse actually chose a bit more of a challenging life for this lifetime, for this incarnation, because they wanted to grow. And I'm sure many of you can relate to this and can understand that we grow the most when we are challenged in life, when life throws us curveballs, when we face difficulties. That's when we get the most growth in life and the most transformation as well. So your future spouse, I hear, definitely signed up for a bit more of a challenging life journey this time around. And I think in and of itself, that's a very beautiful trait, because it's not easy for someone to take the more challenging road or agree to be more challenged. You know, so many people, they just want to like coast through life, be comfortable, be secure, be stable. But your future spouse is someone who actually thrives off of change. I feel like they are that type of person that perhaps maybe they even get a bit of a rush from the unpredictable, right? You know, some people maybe they get a little bit stressed out when things are changing so quickly. I mean, hello, pandemic, like the last few years, so many people getting stressed out because everything was just up in the air, like no one knew what was going on. So many people were feeling insecure, unstable, and fearful of what the next day may bring. But I'm seeing here that your future spouse, they really thrive off of that type of energy. They're probably the type of person you want around in the case of an emergency, or when things kind of fall apart, or don't seem to be working according to plan. Like your future spouse is the type of person that can maintain their calm, be collected in times of crisis and uncertainty, and kind of navigate through rough waters to kind of get to calmer shores. I feel like that's sort of your future spouse's personality. Um, yes, they are like, I'm hearing that they are like the rock that can weather the storm for a lot of people, and that source of security for a lot of people as well. um, I'm also hearing too that your future spouse, is also very adaptable, and I feel like it actually brings them almost a fair amount of luck and recognition. So for example, like in the workplace, right, when a new computer program is being installed, and the company has to train everybody on how to use the new computer program and become efficient with doing their jobs, right? Like most people get really stressed out and get really annoyed by this, but your future spouse actually does so well at this. And it's like they're a quick learner, they're quick at adapting, they can kind of see new ways to approach perhaps old problems. And that's that transformative nature within them. Mm. I'm also hearing from Spirit that they transform the people that they are around. Like their presence is so powerful, and so the word that I'm hearing is shifting, which kind of doesn't make sense grammatically, but being around this person, just being in their presence, being in their energy, having interactions with them is so transformative to individuals. I'm hearing that your future spouse is actually a very memorable person and has that influence, that power, that sway to really turn around somebody's day, you know? Like, for example, if someone's having a really rough day and they're kind of being a grumpy pants and maybe a bit rude to everyone else, like one interaction with your future spouse can switch that narrative, switch that trajectory for them, and they can become perhaps, less angry, a little bit more pleased, or not pleased, pleasant to be around. And they can also be a little more reflective, self-reflective, to be like, yo, my really grumpy pants attitude has been affecting everyone negatively around me, and I don't want to be that kind of person. So let me kind of get my act together. Um, your future spouse, part of their inner beauty is they help people with changing their perspectives for the better. Yes, yes. Very, very beautiful. I love that. Okay. Oh, Spirit says it's the card on the bottom that we're going to kind of anchor in these other three. So you have Justice, Five of Pentacles, and the Death card, coming alongside the Lovers card. So I feel this message that we talked about earlier, where you're this type of person that your future spouse is exactly the kind of person that you want around in times of crisis, in times of shifting and changing, because they're the ones that can think quickly on their feet and sort of help people move through challenges and difficulties. I'm also seeing here again with this Five of Pentacles card that your future spouse's energy, their inner beauty, what they kind of carry with them that's unseen, is this very consoling, comforting energy, especially when times are tough. It's like your future spouse is that kind of person that you want to get a hug from, you know, when you're feeling down, when you're feeling sad, when you're feeling stressed. Like a hug from your future spouse will like change your day. Um, I'm seeing that your future spouse is very much the sunshine in a lot of people's life, you know. They bring so much warmth and compassion, and I feel it could be because they've been through, again, some challenging and difficult times in their life. And so they know what it's like when it feels like the odds are stacked against you, that the world is against you, that people are against you. And so they can extend that reassuring smile, that comforting hug when people are going through similar experiences in their and circumstances in their life. Um, your your future spouse is definitely a refuge. Oh, that's so beautiful. It's I'm also hearing that song by John Legend. When it's cold outside, there's no need to worry 'cause I'm so warm inside. You bring me peace when the storm's outside. 'Cause we're in love, I know that'll be alright. It's alright, it's alright. Oh my god, one of my favorite songs from John Legend. So that's definitely the vibe that your future spouse brings. I see too your future spouse, part of their inner beauty is they have a strong sense of morality. They have a strong sense of justice. It's very clear to them what's right and what's wrong. And they're not that type of person that talks the talk, like they walk the walk. They stand by their morals, they stand by their virtues and values. Um, and with this death card, what are we getting with this death card? Obviously, with death, it's a transformation, right? Like letting go of the old you, embracing the new you as you go through these different chapters in your life. And I feel like your future spouse navigates that so well. They're very resilient. That's a good word for your future spouse. Resilient, and courageous. They don't fear change. They don't fear the unknown because they know that they will make it through, and they know that there's a purpose for everything in their life, like the good and the bad or more difficult times, and they know they're going to make it through, and they know they're going to be better for it when a challenge arises. So it's almost like they have a very optimistic outlook in a lot of ways, and it can be a bit infectious towards others. They are, I'm hearing, like a beacon of light, a beacon of hope for a lot of other people, to kind of be like, yo, if you can do it, if you can make it through these challenging situations, so can I. There could even be a bit of Scorpio energy within their chart. Maybe Sun, Moon, Rising could be in Scorpio. And for some reason, I'm also hearing a little bit of Aquarius energy coming through as well. Libra would be Justice, the Lovers would be Gemini. So there could be some elements in those signs in their birth chart as well. Now let's draw one final card from my newest deck about your future spouse's inner beauty. I am connected. How beautiful is that? So your future spouse, their mentality is, again, we talked about optimistic, maybe like glass half full kind of mindset, but they understand that everything happens for a reason, and that there is a silver lining to even the darkest of clouds. And I feel like they're very connected to spirit in that way. I'm getting the vibe that they're a highly evolved being, and they're gonna continue to evolve in like tremendous ways, because again, they're choosing this life that's very challenging, right? For this current incarnation. Wow, I'm really very, very impressed by your future spouse's energy, their vibes, and I can see that this is a very beautiful, beautiful soul that you will have in your life here if you haven't met them yet. So I hope you enjoyed your reading, part 2 of your future spouse's beauty. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel so you can continue to receive more readings from me, Rian, yours truly. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care, loves. Hello there, group number 2. Welcome to your pick a card reading to find out more about your future spouse's inner beauty. So this is part 2 of your future spouse's beauty series. The first part was about your future spouse's outer beauty, and if you haven't checked out that video, you can just go to my channel, and it was the video that's posted just like maybe about a week ago from this one. But let's take a look here at your future spouse's inner beauty in today's reading. You were drawn to the healing card. And what I'm seeing here to start off your reading, and we'll dive a little bit deeper here in a moment, is that your future spouse is definitely a healer. They probably work in some type of healing profession just because that's their natural, innate talent. So maybe they work in medicine, nurse, doctor, surgeon, medical assistant. They could work as a therapist, a counselor. Maybe they're an energy healer. They do Reiki. Maybe they are a psychic and they do tarot card readings or past life regressions, acupuncture, chiropractic work, even dentistry. So they are in the healing arts, most likely, just because it's something that comes so natural to them and they're gifted at that. I'm also hearing that your future spouse actually has a talent for giving really good advice. Well thought out, very sound advice. I'm feeling this energy from your future spouse that they're very, what is it, nonpartisan? I feel like that's the word that came through, and I'm not sure if that's the exact word that I like to use, but they can actually do a good job of removing bias and prejudice when they give advice, when they offer a consultation to someone. I think part of their skill as a healer is that they realize that they are a vehicle for which people can experience healing, but that ultimately it's up to that person to complete the healing. You know, they understand that they're almost like an instrument or a tool to bring in this healing and recovery, but they're not like a savior, for example. Okay, they're not the ones that's going to always fix someone's problems and make life better for other people. It's like they understand that they play a role in it, but that there are other people involved, there are other circumstances or other energies that are involved as well. So I feel like you know, your future spouse can give really good advice but not get attached to the outcome, you know, and get upset or get judgy when people don't listen to their advice or when things work out wrong. And they're not that kind of person that's like, yo, I told you so. They're far from it. Very much non-judgmental. And I feel like a lot of people who maybe have experienced prejudice and bias in the past feel very, very safe and comfortable around your future spouse. You know, people who may have been persecuted because of their race, their religious beliefs, their ethnicity, their sexual preferences, their gender identity. Like, your future spouse is someone that's so refreshing and nice for them to be around, because again, there's no judgment. There's this very sort of accepting energy about your future spouse, and they're really good at kind of healing trauma is what I'm hearing, okay, through the work that they do. Like, for example, maybe your future spouse is like a dentist or a dental hygienist, and a lot of people that come to them are afraid of the dentist for whatever reason. And once they have an interaction with your future spouse, it's like that fear and that trauma is healed and they feel more comfortable now going to the dentist or dental hygienist. Like, probably they're more comfortable seeing your future spouse, but if they had to see someone else, they wouldn't be as afraid as they were before, you know? Ooh, this is big actually that just came through. So your future spouse is also part of um, a healing catalyst for the generations. Um, so whether they're, you know, like Gen Z, Gen Y, baby boomer, whatever the story is, like maybe not baby boomer, but your future spouse is part of that energy that's going to heal and advance like that generation, that collective group of people. I'm there. I wouldn't be surprised if they're like an indigo child, a star child, a rainbow child. Um, you know, one of those sort of um, healing spirits, if you will. Um, there was something else that just came through, and I totally lost it. Oh no. Okay, maybe it'll come back. Let's just draw some tarot cards. Oh, ancestral healing. That's the other thing. I can definitely see that your part of your future spouse's mission in this lifetime, in this incarnation, is to be part of ancestral healing. So healing ancestral wounds, ancestral trauma, which, you know, I wasn't as aware of or cognizant of before, but after, you know, doing some self-development courses and speaking with some of my friends, like that's actually a very big energy. So to be able to heal generational wounds and ancestral trauma is a big thing. So we don't repeat, you know, traumatic cycles, like perpetuate them, I should say, perpetuate these traumatic cycles into future generations and future in the future. Yeah. We'll leave it at that. Oh, this is so interesting. So you have the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Swords. So two aces. So your future spouse, one of their talents and their abilities is bringing a fresh take to everything. Your future spouse, it's almost like everything is like so new to them. It's like the first time. So even though maybe they've taken, you know, helped someone with their blood pressure many times before, if they're like in healthcare, right? Every patient who has high blood pressure, they treat it as a new person. So, and a new case and a novel idea almost. And that, so they can kind of maintain this level of excitement and wonder constantly throughout life. I'm seeing here that they're that type of person that gets excited over everything, and that brings so much joy to people around them. They love learning new ideas. This Ace of Swords here, they love thinking of things in different ways. I'm hearing they love like board games and puzzle games as well. Like it really brings them a lot of joy, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they like to invite people to join them for game night. Oh my god, I just went to like my first game night here in this new town that I've moved into, and it was such a blast to like have just some good old G-rated fun with people playing board games. Like, oh my gosh, I really miss that. I used to play board games with my big sister and our family before, and it was like such a blast. I looked forward to it. Anyways, I'm also hearing that your future spouse enjoys learning other languages, so I wouldn't be surprised if they were bilingual or maybe even trilingual, quadlingual. And that's also very beautiful and very attractive, right? Like, my gosh, being able to speak another language is like so sexy, I have to say. So that's an aside. Ace of Cups, they have a very high EQ. Is what I'm seeing. They are very empathetic. They can definitely tune in and sense other people's emotions. They know how to read a room, and they know how to help people get a little bit more comfortable, okay? When things are challenging or difficult or awkward or uncomfortable, you know? They have a very good talent and knack for easing the tension in a room, okay? I'm also just heard like if they are a masseuse, actually, it's like their hands are magic. You know, maybe you've heard someone say that about their massage therapist or masseuse, or you've said that about a massage therapist or masseuse. It's like their hands are magic. It's like they just melt away all that tension, all that pain out of the muscles, you know? So, interestingly enough, we also have like two swords here on the top and two cups. So I'm hearing from spirit that your future spouse actually has a good balance between like their book smarts and their street smarts, their IQ and their EQ. So that's very much appreciated. Very beautiful about them is that they have this balance between logic and reason with emotions and intuition. They blend it really well. So with this two of swords, I'm seeing here that your future spouse is is kind of like blind, blind to judgment. You know, they don't see people as like rich or poor, young, old, black and white, um, foreigner, native, good, bad. Like the world to them is not strictly dichotomous. Okay, it's not on this strict binary. They see people as human beings. They see people as an individual soul, and I'm hearing here that they realize it's not their place to judge. Their place in this world is to be a positive presence, a good person, you know, in this world. And it's to them it's really all about like human rights, basic rights, regardless of where you fall on this spectrum. Again, like poor, rich, man, woman, straight, gay, like whatever. They're all just about supporting human life. Yeah, just like non-judgmental is the energy I'm getting. It's like so beautiful. Also, before I talk about this Queen of Cups, I wanted to say too, if you follow astrology, it's very likely too that your future spouse has a lot of strong placements in water and air signs. So the water signs would be Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And then the water signs would be Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra. So a lot of placements in one of those signs. Okay, so with this Queen of Cups, um, I'm getting here that your future spouse is highly sensitive. Now, in some cases, that may be a little bit difficult. Like, I'm hearing empathic energy, right? So they can, if the energy is very strong, it's like very violent, it's very excitable, like they might have a hard time adjusting and being in those kind of spaces. So I'm thinking places like concert venues, sporting events, um, anywhere that's like really loud and like too much energy. So it's almost like your future spouse doesn't necessarily enjoy being in crowds. Okay. Um, and that's kind of on like the challenging side of it, right? But I think on a more personable side, they are very empathic, and so they can sense when something is wrong. And I feel like intuitively, they know like the questions to ask, the things to say, the gestures to make to again make people more comfortable, right? Whether it's like a hand on the shoulder, a pat on the back, a hug, um, you know, just asking something like, hey, it seems like, you know, you're not as energetic or as happy as you usually are. Is something wrong? Is it something that perhaps you might feel comfortable talking to me about? Right? Like they know intuitively when something is up. So that's one of the gifts of being empathic, is being able to sense when something is wrong with another person and offer comfort as appropriate, you know, to the time, the setting, the kind of relationship that they have with the person. Um, I'm also hearing too that they respect privacy. That your future spouse is not a gossip and does not like share other people's business. So they are an excellent confidant, and they don't, you know, throw other people's personal business out on the streets there. So let's get one final card here from my newest deck. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Group number one got this card as well. So if for whatever reason you felt drawn to between group one and two and couldn't decide, and you haven't listened to group one, this is your cue to listen to group one, because the energy that I'm feeling from group one and two is actually very, very similar. So with this I am connected card, I definitely feel that your future spouse has some type of gift or knack for being a healer. They are very forward thinking. They are very, again, like humanitarian, accepting of all people from all different walks of life. And they see that everything has its place in the universe. And they're here to be a force of good, a force of positivity in this reality, in this time. And they do it, you know, they do it through their profession. And if they aren't in those healing professions, they do it with their day-to-day interactions, okay, with the people that they work with, the people that they live with, their family, their friends, even the people that they just kind of bump into at like the grocery store or whatever. They definitely leave an impression of beautiful energy. I'm also, which is very interesting, I'm seeing this grid. So your future spouse, what's so beautiful about their energy is they are kind of like this light that's activating the grid of the energetic system in the world, and facilitating this healing energy, because you know Mama Gaia is really struggling with like climate change, the environment, with a lot of the fear and hatred that's kind of around the world right now. And so your future spouse is one of those anchors of light and love. Wow, that got like really spiritual, really woo woo, but I trust that you were drawn to this pile because you totally get it, you know? So, anyways, let me know what you thought of your reading with a comment down below. Let me know if you're claiming this beautiful inner energy of your future spouse. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to give a like and subscribe to this channel, because I'd love to do more readings for you in the future as well. So until next time, take care, loves. Bye. Hello there, group 3. Welcome to your pick a card reading to find out more about your future spouse's inner beauty. This is part 2 of your future spouse beauty series. The first part was about their outer beauty. If you haven't seen that video just yet, you can go ahead to my channel, and I posted this video about a week prior to this one, so definitely check it out after you watch this reading. Let's get into it. So more about your future spouse's inner beauty. You were drawn, interestingly, to the Destruction card. And I have to say, out of all 3 of these, I'm most curious and excited to read for you with this one. So what I'm seeing to start us off is your future spouse is one of those people who has a very, very easy time saying no. I'm seeing that your future spouse has very firm boundaries in place, and they're very good at maintaining their boundaries. And I think that's a skill that most people are starting to become aware of and starting to see as healthy, because for the longest time, you know, it was all about saying yes, 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 yes to everything, and not having those boundaries, or not saying no when something isn't working for you. You know, sometimes saying no or having boundaries can be seen by people who are maybe not as conscious or as aware, as being selfish or being rude, being maybe inconsiderate, disrespectful, right? But, you know, yes is a very important word, but no is also a very important word. And I feel like your future spouse, what's so great about them is they know how to say no to things that are not good for them, things that no longer serve them, that don't suit them, and they're really good at kind of like moving on from things. They're not that type of person that tends to like dwell on stuff. I'm also hearing they're not that kind of person that like cries over spilled milk. You know, it's like they're not whiny or complaining, or they don't ruminate on like bad things that have happened. They're just kind of like, well, that happened, so okay, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to kind of get back on track? How are we going to move forward? You know, how are we going to keep moving and not be held back or stopped? Because life goes on, you know? Oh my god, I heard that song. Where is this from? It's a theme song. Oh blah dee, oh blah da, life goes on. Oh, oh, no, how the life goes on. Is it the Wonder Years? Let me know in the comments down below if you know where that comes from. But I think it's the Wonder Years. It's like the theme song. So I feel like they kind of have that mentality. Also like the c'est la vie. Like that's life. This is how life is. Like you win some, you lose some, right? That's definitely their energy. And so they know how to like dust themselves off and get back up and keep on keeping on. You know, I'm hearing that Aaliyah song again. Dust yourself off and try again. You can dust it off and try again, try again. Because if at first you don't succeed. I think I sang that on one of my other videos from a few months back. But anyways, so with this destruction card, your future spouse is not afraid of failure, not afraid of having to let things go and move on. I feel like they have actually pretty much mastered, if not very nearly mastered, the art of detachment. And I was actually speaking to one of my friends because I was reading this book about the Toltec tradition by De La Ruiz, Don De La Ruiz, I think it's his son. His book about like the 5 levels of attachment. And in Buddhism, one of the biggest sayings is the root of all suffering is attachment. So when we are not able to let things go and accept that change when it comes into our life, that's when we suffer, that's when we struggle. It's a very, very profound and deep teaching. So let me know how you feel about that. But I feel like your future spouse really understands the art of detachment and the art of flow, and accepting of change and the sort of fleeting nature and temporary nature of life and circumstances, you know? Okay, let's find out a little bit more about your future spouse's inner beauty. Okay, so we have the 2 of Wands to start us off. So this is what I feel like your future spouse is very forward thinking. Your future spouse, I feel, you know, part of their inner beauty is like they don't stay in one place for very long. They don't get held back. They keep pushing, they keep going. You know, if life throws them an obstacle, they either hop on over it or under it or sidestep it, or they get knocked down and then they get back up and continue on their route. So they're able to kind of keep their eye on the bigger picture and the goal, and not get sort of bogged down by any setbacks. And it's a very admirable trait I'm hearing. Oh, look at this, the 3 of Cups. So your future spouse I'm seeing is someone that's very easy to be around. Their energy, I feel, is very friendly, very amicable. I'm also hearing patient, which is interesting. Very, very patient energy. Also, what's so beautiful about them is they actually celebrate endings. So I was first tuning into the celebratory energy that you can feel in the 3 of Cups. Like it almost looks like they're doing like a toast, like cheersing each other, right? But what I heard from Spirit is that your future spouse celebrates endings just as much as like accomplishments or new beginnings, right? So, you know, maybe they look at passing on or passing away more as like an opportunity to celebrate life and be happy for someone that passed on, because they're going to another plane of existence that's easier and less stressful and more beautiful and peaceful, you know? And so they probably lean more towards like a celebration of life versus like a funeral and like where it's just like all sad and depressing. I'm also hearing too that I remember seeing this in I think it was a movie or a TV show when someone got divorced, like they celebrated getting divorced. And, you know, historically and classically, most people get really upset about divorces and feel sad about it. But in this show, the person was like so glad to move on from a partner because the relationship just wasn't working out any longer, and they weren't a good match, and they were holding each other back, keeping this sort of like angry, low vibrational space and existence. And so they were so happy to be separated. And, you know, I've seen some instances where people, when they separate, they're actually happier, and in some cases they even get along better. It's like we're so much better as like friends than we are as like spouses, you know. So I feel like your future spouse finds a reason to celebrate even in the most difficult of times and circumstances. So they definitely know how to see the silver lining. It's kind of like, oh, this awful thing happened, but thank goodness it wasn't this. Or thank goodness we're all safe, even though, you know, we got in this car accident. Like, thank goodness everyone is safe. We don't need to, you know, get taken away in an ambulance, right? So they can kind of see the good even when things seem bad. Oh my gosh, the Hanged Man. Again, there's this different perspective that I think that they celebrate all experiences in life, you know, because they can see the good in almost any situation. So it's so crazy. A lot of the energies here are so much the same between the readings. You know, very mature energy of coming through about your future spouses. So I'm guessing this is because of the audience that I'm attracting with the type of readings that I do, that there are very, you know, advanced and conscious beings that are coming to my channel. And the reason why I say that is because you are attracting, your future spouse is a reflection of you, right? Is a reflection of your energy. And so even though we're talking about your future spouse and their beautiful energy, realize that you have just as beautiful an energy as they do, okay? And there's probably a lot of similarities between the two of you, and that's why you're such a great match. So with this Hanged Man, again, there's this stillness and then there's this peace about your future spouse, when things kind of, you know, when the poop hits the fan, right? Or when things come to a close, when things come to an end. They don't see it as something sad or something to be mourned. They see it as a step towards a new beginning and new opportunities. And then lastly, we have the King of Swords for your tarot cards. And so, you know, Spirit was telling me there's something about this stationary energy, because like in the Two of Wands, there's no one moving. The Hangman, they're hanging, they're not going anywhere. And we have this figure here in the wheelchair who is not like walking or moving around. Granted, you know, they can wheel around, but they can't walk. And then we have the King of Swords who's seated on their throne. So there's this like stillness about your future spouse. There's this energy that doesn't feel very chaotic, because, you know, when things come to an end, sometimes the energy does feel very chaotic and very uncontrolled and very unpredictable, which can make people feel stressed, anxious, sad, worried, right? But your future spouse, there's this stillness about them, as everything around them is like moving and almost like feeling like chaotic, right? And I feel like it's because your future spouse, they have some sort of foresight, some type of vision. Maybe in some cases it's even some sort of clairvoyancy, where they can kind of see that everything's gonna be all right? Like everything's gonna work out. Everything is happening in divine orchestration orchestration. That's a word, right? Everything is being divinely orchestrated. There we go. There's a divine pattern. Oh my god, it's making me think of the Wheel of Time. There's like this series, this like really big book series in the fantasy realm, that has been adapted into a TV show. I think it was like 2 years ago now, and the second season is now starting to air on Amazon Prime. But anyways, so when you think of the Wheel of Time, like everything has every life is like a thread in the tapestry that's created in the Wheel of Time, and we all move with the Wheel of Time, and maybe some people have a bigger influence on like the world at large and the community, but everyone everyone has a role to play, and I feel like your future spouse almost kind of sees that, sees that, the interconnectedness, and there's this like cool, calm collectedness about them, because it's almost like I feel like they're a bit of a brainiac in some ways, because we don't have any court cards in the water element. We just have the King of Swords, and so that's making me feel like what's highlighted here is this very logical, calculated sort of mindset of your future spouse. You know, it's almost like they know statistics in a way, like the statistical likelihood of this happening and the chances of this being an issue in the long run. Like that's kind of how they think, where they appreciate the coincidence and the synchronicity in life, but they also don't sweat the small stuff, because they think of it like, in the grand scheme of my day, like, so somebody yells at me for 10 seconds, that's only like a fraction of my experience of being awake for today. And so I don't need to let that drag me down. This interaction is so insignificant to shaping my day and shaping who I am and dictating how everything goes, that I don't have to give it any credence, because some people, if they have someone yelling at them and being rude to them for 10 seconds, like that totally ruins their day, and they get grumpy all about it, and they absorb this like negativity, and then they spread it, right? Your future spouse is not like that at all. They like nip things in the bud. They're like, no nonsense, like whatever this foolishness is, like get it away from me, or I'm gonna excuse myself, right? Again, kind of going back to the beginning about these boundaries. Like your future spouse is like, okay, this is ridiculous, I'm not vibing with this energy feels like blah, so bye, moving on. I'm going to like go somewhere else. I'm going to remove myself from the situation. If you're not going to leave and walk on out the door, I will do it then. Wow, very, very interesting. So this no nonsense kind of vibe coming from your future spouse, and I think they set a good example for people to set up their own boundaries, right? And kind of protect their own energies, because your future spouse does it so well. So what an interesting set of readings for today. I hope you enjoyed it as well. Let me know if you resonated with this in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed your reading, don't forget to give the video a like, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because I'd love to continue to do readings for you again in the future. So until next time, take care, loves.